Good morning, world. Thanks for coming into Holly's Hobby again. We're on window number 2 in the series of the 4 Halloween dos. We got Babe in the kitchen cooking up some, what is he cooking? Crappie? And I'm just floating this ghost out. So I've done a base coat of white, sketched him out. Now I'm going back in with the double-sided brush, 1 part water, 1 part gray, floating out this shadows here, make him look like he's a little bit round and bulbous. And just finishing that up. Now I'm going to hand draw in a little pumpkin in here with the crayon. And I'm just going to base coat and fill that in. And then let that dry. And then we'll come back and finish it. See you in a bit. Okay, let's see what's next. So I went ahead and floated the gray on the outside. And then I'm doing a little bit of black right now. Just to make it pop. Excuse me. Alright, just to make that outline pop a little bit. And then I wanted to show you a little secret. So you take your brush fully loaded and you put it right in the middle to make a marking dot for your placeholder. And you just swipe it to the left, swipe it to the right. Just fan it out as far as it'll go. And that will actually make a pretty near perfect circle for you. I'm going to have a spider on the top of this ghost head. Alright, I'm going to do one more for his body. Fan it out. Fan it out. And that'll make a pretty good little spider. Okay, the pumpkin's base coated and ready to go. My plan to bake this Halloween is to say S-P-O-O-K-Y, spooky time, and then his eyes are going to be the 2 O's. So I'm going to fill those in using the same procedure. Fan it, push and fan, push and fan. I'm literally just eyeballing these eyeballs. They're probably not the same size, but they'll work. Okay, fill it in, fan it out. There you go. One more over here. Sometimes when I'm painting a flower background, the back few petals of it, I'll do it just like this, especially like sunflowers. And just fan it and it'll make a pretty good circle, half circle, whatever you want. And it's pretty evened. Okay, fill that in. Perfect. I'm going to go and add a little bit of shading to the pumpkin. Just outline it. We're going to make this simple and cute. I'm going to, oh, there we go. I'm going to subtly, as subtle as I can be, turn this shape into a pumpkin using a little bit of shading with a different color of orange, which I have that on my palette now. We're going to use a double stroke technique where you load brushes, the light orange and the dark orange, one on each side, just like you do for petals. Put the dark side on the outside edge, float it down, just to make a couple of pumpkin ridges. Repeat on the other side. Boom. Cute. Okay, that'll work for me. So we have the ridges. Make a little stem here with the leftover brown on the brush. Since I have that window pane right in the middle, I think I'm going to end up painting that black. I'm going to extend it a little bit more just to make it exaggerated so you'll know it's a stem. Super cute. Okay. Alright, I'm going to let this one dry because we got to do a couple of coats of that black. So I'm going to let my brush just sit for a bit. In the meantime, let's say we go ahead and do a couple of pumpkin leaves. I'm loading up a light green and a dark green on my palette here. We're going to do a 2-stroke leaf, just like we did with the pumpkin rinds. We're going to dip half in the light, half in the dark, and I'll show you what that looks like here in just a second. All right. Let's see. Okay, good and loaded. Okay, here we go. So a placeholder, make a V, and let's see, let's do groups of 3s. I'll probably put 1 up here. Okay, so let's get started. I want the dark on the outside. Oops, I'm sorry, I twisted my brush around the wrong way. Okay, dark on the outside, light on the inside. Bring that all the way down. Perfect. Good. Wiggle. Flip it over. Wiggle at the other side. All right, and that third leaf, let's do it here. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do a couple of tendrils all the way down. Cute. Perfect. Leaves go pretty fast. Once you get that routine down, they go pretty fast. 1, 2. I like to make these big and cartoony because that's the overall aesthetic of this painting anyway. So that just lends itself to it. Looks pretty cute. Okay, maybe one popping up. Okay, I think I'm happy with this. I'm going to go in and add some little ones later, so I want to leave a little bit of negative space in between. Okay, in fact, I'm going to do that right now. Grab my medium brush and do the same thing. We're going to load it, double loaded. Wipe off the excess, run it through. Get started with some mini leaves. Same concept, same technique, just a smaller brush to make a different size. More controlled, I think. If you want to do high and low contrast, you could do green with white, green with black, yellow with green. I want to keep this kitschy and cute and cartoony, so I went with just the basic primary colors. A little more up the top here. Cute. Okay. Now, let's do the vines. Get the green, whichever one you want. I chose the dark green. Let's get it good and inky. Water dripping off of that brush. And connect all of them to the stem. Each one of them gets its own little tendril. A little hug around each leaf. On the right, on the left, on the right, and on the left. Just connect them in. No rhyme or reason to it. Make a couple of swirls like this makes me think of Cinderella's pumpkin carriage. Okay. If you heard a machine just start up, an engine, my husband went out there on his tractor to level out some gravel we got day before yesterday for a carport to put his camper under. And we had day to ourselves, which is not very easy to come by around here. We spent the better part of the day just relaxing and hanging out, watching a little bit of movies, and he cooked, like I said, crappie. I'm sorry, yeah, crappie, that's right. And then later on, in about an hour, I put a roast on and a lemon meringue pie, so we can have that later. Actually, to be honest with you, I had my mom do it, and I'm going to go pick it up from her house and pay her for it because I didn't have the willpower today. Cute. Okay, let me go back and see if these are dry. Yep, dry to the touch. Let's go ahead and repeat the whole circle process a couple more times. Alright, load it up really good and put it right in the middle, fan it out. The O's looking good. I've already watched one spooky movie. I watched Practical Magic. It's an oldie and a goodie. I like that movie. Those women in that show are just stunning. Absolutely stunning. Okay. Get ready for our spider. I debated putting a little spider down here too. We might. Let me get the words on there and we'll see. We can always go back. Okay, I think our ghost is going to be a smiling ghost, a happy ghost. So I need to paint him in a little smile. And I like to pre-draw things like that just because sometimes it ends up a little not as what you have in your mind's eye doesn't work. So I like to go ahead and sketch things out. Perfect. I like it. Give him a little bit of cheeks. A good sized mouth. Alright. We'll have to go over that a couple times. Give him some red cheeks, I believe. Okay. I'm going to float his cheeks on with that floating process with a little bit of red real fast. Load the brush up, half water, half paint. Mark off the excess. Do a little smile line. Repeat. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit of highlight to the spider up at the top using a scruffy brush and make it look like he's got a little bit of texture, like he's hairy. Pounce it onto your scruffy brush, straight onto the paper towel or the board to wipe off the excess, and just pounce it around. Look at that. Now it looks like he's a little hairy spider. Cute. Super cute. Okay. You're starting to come together. All right. I'm going to add a couple of legs to the spider. Real simple. Spindly. Okay. I'm not afraid of spiders, not really. We do have them. There's a couple. I'll say they're not my favorite, but that snake in the koi pond yesterday gave me a little bit of a charge. Wasn't my little favorite critter. Okay, I'm going to give my little ghost a couple of cheeks. Little red cheeks. Just with the puffy brush, dipped in some red. Right over where we floated his smile. Let you know he's a happy ghost. And while I've got the red out, I'm going to dip the back into my brush. Make two little beady eyes on this spider here. There we go. He's coming together pretty cute. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of white in the eyes to make the O's for spooky. Okay. And then I'm going to make a little bit of placeholders with my little red crayon to spell out the word "it's spooky time." Okay, I like that. T-I. I strongly suggest using crayon. It comes off real easy with Windex, like I said. If you make a boo-boo, if you put it on with Sharpie, it does as well. Sometimes I'll do both, just like now. I'm going to go back over it with "it's spooky time." I-T-S. Alright, I think I can see the rest of that pretty well. Okay, let's get ready to start writing our letters on there. I haven't decided what color yet. Let me think on it for a minute. I'll add a few pumpkin seeds, which I know they're on the outside. I don't know why, but I just think they look cute. This adds a little bit of depth. All right, let's see. I'm debating between red, purple, or green. I think I'm gonna do purple. Do I got a purple? I do. Cool. Okay. How often do you get to use purple? You know what I mean? All right, so I'm going to start by white backdropping these so that when I do the purple, it'll show up. I just freehand my letters. Anybody who knows me knows my handwriting is atrocious. I've even gotten in trouble for that before. I've really tried to improve it. I've even tried to take calligraphy lessons. But nowadays, I type everything. Everything. Okay, so we got the S-P-O-O-K-Y. Let me go back over his eyes another time. He's coming together pretty cute. A lot cuter than I thought he would be. I put the black background on the window from last night that we finished up, and I can't wait for y'all to see it. Okay, a lot of times I'll get a painting at arts and crafts festivals, and the clincher will be if you say that you'll personalize it for free. I will every time. Especially if somebody's debating, you can see them hemming and hawing. That'll be the clincher. You want your name on it? You bet. Every single time they'll buy it right then. It makes it personal. It's important, you know? Okay. Let that dry a couple of rounds. Make sure I'm in level. Is that E? It's spooky time. Okay. Cute. Alright. Let me let that dry and we'll come back and do some more. Alright, I am adding a couple of curly cues and edges to make a spider web real fast for this little guy to live on. A couple little tendrils hanging down. And at the corner of the window there. I may have to darken that up a little bit. You can't hardly see it. There we go. That's looking good. I think spiders making spider webs is so fascinating. Oh my gosh. So every night I have a ritual. Every single night that I can possibly. I go out in I go out at night and I have a hot tub that I sit out in and look at the stars, look at the sky, just appreciate my day. It's important to do. And sometimes in the morning before work, sometimes always at night though. And I remember seeing this beautiful, amazing spider web, and just praising the Lord for it and being like, what a glorious house to create, you know? And I had seen where you can I think it's to put hairspray or clear spray after you capture a web, and it'll capture it. And I just didn't have the heart to do it. I thought, my gosh, you spent all that time making something so glorious, that little spider did, and for somebody just to come and just tear it apart just to capture it, I thought that's mean. So I didn't do it, but I know that people do. And they are very neat. It's a wonder of nature, baby. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and touch up that smile a little bit since it's dried. Go another round with it. Give him a big old smile. He's a happy little ghost. He's happy because he's going to go live in somebody's house. When they buy him, he's going to go live with them and haunt them. Okay. I've all but decided to paint the window pane itself, the edge black, so I think that that's going to just mark itself out and pop. So I'm pretty happy with that. All right, let's get to painting these letters. Dries to the touch pretty quick. Of course, we'll have to do a couple of rounds on this to take the strokes out. Somebody once told me, if you're going to paint a beautiful masterpiece, make sure and hide the brush strokes. I truthfully don't agree with that, but because I think the brush strokes and the mistakes are the best part of the process. In fact, I have a paper hanging right here. It says, I once visited an art school where the students were creating beautiful patterns. I asked a student, when you make a mistake, do you have to paint it out and start over? The student replied, says, no, our teacher is such a talented artist that when we make a mistake, he uses it to enhance the beauty of the pattern. I have that hanging up right above my head, right here, right now, always. Right next to my Holly Hobbies. First card I ever made. And it couldn't be more true that day, and it can't be more true today. I don't know why the world's so quick to pick for perfection. Perfection is boring. Alright, we'll let that coat dry, then we'll come do another one. Bring it around. Okay, now for the T for time. That's a good straight one. I'm liking this purple. I think I made a good decision. T-I. Maybe we'll put some polka dots on these letters. I have a neighbor down the road, and her house is Halloween almost 24/7. She's got some creepy, amazing, cool stuff in her house. And her boys, she's got 2 boys and a husband, and they love it. She is raising them right, let me tell you. Okay. One time, the very first time I ever visited over there, right above her door as I was leaving, I noticed this painting, and I was like, oh, where did you get that? And she said it was at a yard sale. And I said, here in town? She said, no, the next town over. I said, oh my God, I painted that. No way. And I said, I promise you, I did. I remember that. And lo and behold, she looked on the back of it, and there was Holly's Hobby right there on it. And I was so proud. I had no clue. Literally 3 miles down the road, which is a good country mile out here, but still, that close to proximity, and somebody had my artwork hanging up in their house. I was so honored. I was so touched. I still, like, I literally just dropped a birthday card off in her mailbox yesterday. You just never know what's gonna touch somebody or move somebody in this big old world. You never know. All right, I'm coming in and making a few pupils for the eyes. using the same circle technique. Get some happy little eyes. And then I'll make 2 little dash highlights, and I want to draw your attention to this. If you draw a line on the right side, on one eye, you need to finish it out on the other side on the exact same side, because if you don't, and you do, let's say, a left here and a right here, it'll look cross-eyed and it looks silly. So I've definitely learned that the hard way. Put that in your little back pocket for a rainy day. Alright, I'm still working on the mouth a little bit, trying to get it to darken and do a couple of coats on it, but it's getting there. Okay, I'm going to add a few little highlights into the cheeks. Just dip it in white. Doop, doop. I'll probably do one here on the smile here in a little bit. Add a few highlights on the pumpkin. And she's pretty much done. Oh, I'm lying. I'm sorry. Let me add some dots to the eyes on the spider. That's important. Okay. And then all I have left to do is paint the frame black, and we'll call her good, guys. So I'm gonna do that off camera, and when I come back, we'll have a finished product. Okay. All right, that is the final product. I went ahead and painted the frame black, added a couple of polka dots and some leaves to where the spider was, and hopefully this will go to a really good home. I appreciate y'all coming along with me this time. We'll see you later.